the dead is a miracle, doc. They counted me out. Moment of truth, counting it down. Underdog story was down for the count. Back on my feet, back with a mic, back on the beat, back with a family, then back in the streets. The game on lock, I stand with a key. Standing my ground, I am pounding the fleet. Standing my ground, I am pounding my feet. Taking a stand, embracing my destiny, shaking his hand, flipping the script.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the original Sunday Night CrossFit Talk with Carolyne Prevost, Jamie Latimer, and myself. We're so pumped to be here. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of things that are going on CrossFit-wise, Jamie and I talked about Reacher for a long time. I went back and watched the Tom Cruise movies this week.
Oh, nice.
I'd never seen them.
Oh.
I watched Reacher, the show, and never the movies. The movies are just as good as the show.
Yeah. It makes you kind of like looking back and now this new actor, it makes you like, man, you could have gotten someone a little better than Tom Cruise to play Reacher, but he did a good job.
He did a fine job playing him. He just is not tall enough.
Yes.
To be that intimidating person.
Yes.
That's the only that was the only like misstep with the movies. Yeah. And then we dove into the new show on Apple TV called Bad Monkey.
I have not heard of this. Well,
with Vince Vaughn.
Okay.
It is so good, but it is old school. They're only releasing one episode a week.
Oh.
So like we are there's only 3 episodes out. There's 10 and we are like stuck until Wednesday till they release the next one. Yes, Wad Zombie, I've seen Ted Lasso. So the people behind Ted Lasso are part of Bad Monkey.
Okay.
It's also the people from Scrubs. Like they're behind this Bad Monkey, and it's a detective police kind of whodunit mystery with a lot of quirkiness, like Ted Lasso or Scrubs or whatever. It is so stinking good. Yeah.
Is it only on Apple TV?
It is. It's exclusive to them.
Well, I won't be watching it.
So yeah. So that's that. I just wanted to get, and then one update on me, and then we'll talk about how your guys' week has went. Last week I said to everybody that I was off on my antihistamines because I was being tested for my allergies. That test went down. Finally figured out what I'm allergic to, which is my dog. And I have rhino something or other that makes me like really allergic to grasses, molds, leaves. Basically, I need to go move and live on the moon.
Does your dog shed a lot?
So my allergy isn't just a hair. It is saliva and urine and all of that stuff. So I'm starting immunotherapy in 2.5 weeks, and I'm doing the first 3 months in 5 hours. So I will sit in the office getting 3 months of shots every 20 minutes for 5 hours to get the first 3 months in to get some relief. And then I'll have to do like a shot a week for the rest of the year. And then like every other week, and then eventually monthly, and eventually won't need it anymore.
Well, that would be good.
But
at least we got some answers.
They changed my allergy medicine, which is helping. So I'm on Zysol. If you have never taken it, take it at night before you go to bed, because you will be groggy. So
like
nothing like exactly like Benadryl.
Yeah.
But nothing better than to get a medicine that makes you groggy right before you're going to do a behind the scenes of a major event. So I'm hoping there's some coffee tents down there, and I just jam on some caffeine, but yeah. So, but we have an answer finally after 3 years. I finally felt like someone cared about what I was talking about and dug deep enough to find out what the issue was.
Good.
So, yeah. So, your guys' week, how's it been?
busy, man. Oh my gosh.
You have something coming up, Jamie?
Yeah, something coming up for sure. Lucas had another tennis tournament. So that was my Thursday. We went to Chelsea, which is like 50 minutes away. So that was another quad, 4 teams. We were there from like 9 to, I think we got out of there like 4:30 to 5.
That's a long day.
I know they are long. Those quads are a long day.
Of course, Jamie has a thing coming this week.
Yeah, small thing.
Small thing.
Yeah, for me, it was training on Monday. Lex and I went to San Francisco. We were just tourists for the day. So we went at Pier 39 or something, and there was a bunch of things going on that we did there. So that was really fun. And yeah, other than that, just basically chipping away at training and slowly getting ready for NorCal in a few weeks. So trying to enjoy the last few days that I have left in California. So I leave on Wednesday.
All right.
And Jamie, you leave for Birmingham
Tuesday morning.
And Julie and I are leaving Tuesday evening.
Nice.
So,
are you going to drive straight through Tuesday evening?
No,
you're just.
No, what I want to do is just at least get south of Cincinnati because traffic there is really bad in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So just get through the other side of Cincinnati. Wherever we stop in Kentucky's fine. And then I'll just go the rest of the way Wednesday morning.
I think we're going to stop in Kentucky too. Find a box, somewhere to stop and move, and then get dinner and stay the night, and then get up in the morning and finish.
Well, speaking of Kentucky, I got news today that my gym is being sold.
Yeah.
And my owners, Christy and Patrick O'Connell, met in Louisville, Kentucky, and moved up to Columbus, where Christy's parents owned a gym. They bought into that gym, and now the 4 of them are selling it off. But they said that September 1st, they will no longer be owners, but they will be members of the gym. They will be attending classes just like they always have. They're going to continue to be a part of the community, but they're just in a different phase of their life and didn't want to own the gym anymore. So, but 2 families from the gym community are buying it. So it's kind of staying in the family. And they've just recently put in a ton of work on it, repainted the building, fixed everything, invested in new equipment. Like it is brand new flooring. It is a mecca of fitness right now.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're still going to continue their IBEX program. It looks like that's going really well for them, at least from the outside. But best of luck to them.
Yeah. It's kind of sad, but they're still going to be there. So
yeah.
And they've taught all the people that are taking over. So, I think it's going to have the same feel, and but we'll see how that goes. So we're gonna start with the Masters stuff tonight, and then we'll get into some of the generic CrossFit stuff at the end of the show. But we wanted to start by the Masters CrossFit Games is next week. This week, I guess, if you count Sunday, the start of the week. It begins on Thursday and goes through Sunday. If you have not seen on her Instagram, Holly Dugan, the best stats and info person in the business, has put together schedules 2 ways. She has like an overall schedule of like days and times. And then if you want to just look at an age group, she now has that out for men and women. You just go up, and if you're like Jamie and you're a woman 40 to 44, you can go to that page, see all of your heat times, bam, on one page. Amazing job that she's done with that.
It's so cool.
super clear, and yeah, great job. Thank you for that.
So those are out there on both mine and her Instagram page, DataWad or Clydesdale Media, if you want to check those out, and give Holly a shout out. She's the best there is. And I know a lot of people have already put hearts all over it, saying that they love it. It was the easiest way for them to see their schedule. So, yeah, super stoked for that. She impresses me every time. She just like sends me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She sent me that this morning and said, "Hey, do you like this?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love this. Get it out, get it out." So yeah, that is the best. The other thing that happened just a couple days ago was that we got the workouts for Masters.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull those up from their Instagram post, and then we will go through those and have Carolyne kind of dissect them. If Jamie wants to jump in, fine. If she doesn't want to give away secrets, she doesn't have to because she's competing, and she may want to keep that stuff to herself.
I just got to say, I'm kind of bummed that they, like, from our original heat schedule, it was supposed to be 3-2-3-2. So they essentially moved the snatch ladder from Sunday morning to Friday. I don't know. I'm kind of bummed. I don't know what prompted that, whether it's like they didn't want to make the cuts before 8 events, and we're like, well, let's just put that strength event in there earlier in the week, or floor wise, or what it was. But like, it is a little weird. Like, I mean, I think we always thought we were getting done at like 4 or 5, and now we're getting done at like noon, and seems unnecessary.
Yeah, I did hear them say on the TEF podcast that they are cutting with just one workout to go. And that will be Sunday, and they've moved things around, so there's only one workout on Sunday now. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share this up. And bam, there we go. So event 1 is not necessarily event 1 for everyone, because there are 3 floors and they are rotating. One floor has a professional rig on it. One floor has an A-frame rig on it, and one floor has no rig on it. And they will rotate through those floors. So different age groups may have a different event 1, but you'll do all these workouts if you are 35 to 54. 55 and up will do 8 of these workouts. Mm-hmm. So here we go. Event 1. We'll just do them in order as they were released, just so there's no confusion. Event 1, 4 rounds for time, 600-meter run, round 1, 5 deadlifts, round 2, 10 deadlifts, round 3, 15 deadlifts, round 4, 20 deadlifts. Time cap 18 minutes. Barbell weight is 255 for men, 180 for women, and I know that actually decreases as you go up in the age groups.
Correct.
Carolyne.
I think this will be a good workout. Obviously, some posterior chain lifting from the floor. The women are doing 70%. I think that's a weight that a lot of people can go unbroken for a lot of it. I think the run, you'll start seeing some separation, but if you are just doing quick sets on the deadlift, I think that you're still in the game for sure. And yeah, like that initial run out after you do those deadlifts, you'll definitely feel your hammies being a little bit sore, and you get that high heart rate coming off the barbell. But I think this is a good test. I like this one. I like this one a lot.
Well, Carolyne would like this because it has deadlifts.
Yeah, like for me, it would be unbroken the whole way. If I'm being honest, it would be pretty easy at that weight for me, unbroken the whole way. I think the weight's appropriate. It's not like super light where it becomes just a running workout, but it's not to the point where then people are stuck on the barbell as well. So I think the good runners can break up the deadlifts in small sets and still be in it, just like the strong people can make up time on the deadlifts by being unbroken. So I think it's a good, somewhat balanced test.
So let me ask you this, Carolyne. The first 2 sets of deadlifts are meaningless. Am I right? So it is just 3 600-meter runs, bang, bang, bang. When you get to the 15 and 20, that's where like it may actually have a little bit of interference. Do you think that's enough to catch the best runners?
I think it's going to come down to a better runner, if I'm being honest. I think a better runner will do, with decent strength, should do better. Yeah, I think you can make up more time on the run.
Denise Moore, would you use a belt?
Personally, no. Or really loose, where you could just quickly tie it. I wouldn't put it on the ground and then re-put it on. So I have a belt that's very easy to do it loose, and I use that quite often. So if I do a belt, I would do that, and then just as you're done, loosen it up so you can breathe and run.
Okay, I like that it's really straightforward.
Yeah, I think for the top competitors, it will be unbroken though.
Dex Hopkins, 35 to 39-year-old competitor, says should be 315. Says a Clydesdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants as much interference before that run as possible.
Yeah. He's got plenty of things in his wheelhouse this weekend. This one needed to be around this weight.
All right, let's go to event 2. Event 2 is 4 rounds for time, 4 rope climbs to 15 feet, 6 sandbag cleans, 150 and 100, 40-foot handstand walk, time cap, 12 minutes.
A little bit more gymnastics here. Another pulling movement from the floor from the sandbag cleans. I would like to see more handstand walk. I don't think that's much for 4 rounds. I would have liked to have seen maybe more distance there for the younger age groups. But I like the squad. Again, posterior chain could be still tired from the first one. The sandbag cleans, I'm assuming you can go touch and go, or they might have sections for that. 4 rope climbs for the men is different than 4 rope climbs in a row for females. I always find when we have the same amount of rope climbs, it's just much faster for the men to get through that. But the 150 to the 100 on the sandbag, I think it's heavier for the men than what it feels normally for the women. So maybe that is a small difference there. Yeah, this one's not bad. I would have liked to have seen more handstand walk maybe in this one. But
so my question on this one is, you have an upper body pulling, you have a posterior chain to the top, and then you're going inverted. That's 3 very different tests in one. What about the transitions?
I mean, I think the handstand walk for that distance for most people is irrelevant. And timing wise, I don't think that will really matter. I think the women can separate themselves on those rope climbs. And if they're able to go kind of down and up right away versus taking, let's say, 2 reps or 3 reps where you're going touch and go and then needing to chalk for 1 more. I think for the women, it's more on the sandbag cleans and rope, like somewhere there. I don't think the handstand walk is relevant for most of the field. Although have you guys had handstand walks, Jamie, so far in your season? I don't think you guys had anything in 25 feet, right?
Mm-mm. We had no handstand walking.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a ridiculous amount. I don't think that should be an issue for anyone. It's really come down, I think, to the rope climbs and just maintaining high heart rate during the workout.
Yeah.
Lynn asks if it's going to be a grip test.
Yes.
There's grip involved. The rope climb, I mean, if you can use your legs as much as possible to save your grip, but you're gripping there, and then initially that grip from the sandbag gets grippy for sure.
I think people underestimate how much grip is fatigued in either handstand push-ups or handstand walking. I've tested this workout. It's nasty. I think people are going to be shocked in round 4.
Yeah, I think this is one that people can blow up early by pushing the pace too much, and then after that are needing to slow down significantly.
I mean, Denise says she tested this one, and they have a 75-pound bag. It's way heavier than you think by round 3. Like, thank God it's not the 200, 150. I honestly don't even know what I would do if it was a heavier bag.
Dex says, I feel like it's courage in transition. The sandbag is going to be grippier. Wow, whatever. It's
Gripper Magoo.
Oh my gosh, Gripper Magoo too with the combo.
Yeah.
I need an English to Dex dictionary.
Is it going to be an Alabama A-shaped bag, though? I don't think we're going to get that lucky to get anything personalized for the Masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all the floors are 20 foot, just like because there's 3 floors in this stadium. I think all the floors are 20 feet, which limits, right, getting that 25 foot or what you're used to. I just think, unfortunately, they don't have the distance.
All right. We're ready to move to the next one.
Yep.
Event 3 for time, 25 overhead squats, 80-foot dumbbell walking lunge, 25 overhead squats, time cap 3 little minutes. Barbell is 75-55, dumbbell 50-35.
I think this is going to be a shit show, if I'm being honest. I think the weights are super light. This is 2 movements that can be no rep very easily in one lane and not in another lane, with the opening up of the hips on the overhead squats, with the opening up of the hips on the lunges, and like some people going through. You're going for speed on these movements that are very light. I think it's going to be tough on the judges for sure. It's going to be a fast WOD. It's unbroken. It's how fast can you lunge? At least like lunging is helping the taller athletes, and then the overhead squats is better for the smaller athletes. So for that, I like that if you're going to do some sort of range of motion, I like that it can even up maybe a little bit with size there. But I think this is going to be hard to judge.
Yeah.
I would absolutely hate to judge this event.
You know how I feel about workouts that like basically come down to a judge's call. It's just, it's unfortunate to see. You see somebody in one lane just getting away with absolute murder, and then the next lane is getting no rep for probably a better movement, and you're like, what is going on out there? I mean, it's just it completely ruins someone's they're probably their entire weekend.
What kind of dumbbell lunges is it? Is it farmer or is it front? And or one dumb? I mean, assuming it's 2 dumbbells, because if it's 2 double overhead, that's completely different.
There's no way it's that. It wouldn't be.
But I don't think
enough.
Yeah.
They don't
think
say in any of the documents that are released.
If it's just farmer,
I'm betting it's farmer.
Same with front rack. It's fast, but the double overhead would make a big difference. But yeah, like you said, I don't think the time would make it a double overhead, because that would be really hard for, I think, most of the masters mobility wise.
Yeah, you would see some struggle in the 50. Like they wouldn't finish this workout if that's what it was. Not for 80 feet.
I bet it's just farmer.
Kenneth,
you guys have a lot of dumbbells this weekend too. I noticed.
Yeah, that's common.
What's the difference between a dumbbell lunge and a dumbbell walking lunge? Well, dumbbell lunge you can do in place. A dumbbell walking lunge, you must cover a distance. And that's why this is 80 feet and not so many reps. If it's just a lunge, it's for reps, not distance. So there's that one. And I completely agree. Like judging is going to be just nuts on this. And the older
they're not doing this one?
No, because their overhead squat mobility just is in volume and for the overall weekend.
So, Kenneth says tomato. Well, there is a little bit difference because the opening of the hips is different. When you're walking the lunge, there's a couple more points that you have to hit in the standard. So it's a little bit more complicated. Although I like moving rather than stationary ones anyway. Yeah. I think those are a little bit easier to judge. So let's go event 4 for time. This is the snatch speed ladder. It is simply 4 at 135.95, 3 at 165, 115, 2 at 195, 135, and 1 at 225, 155. this immediately starts dropping in weight, even at the 40 to 44-year-old division. Time cap is 2 minutes. So you got to move.
I think for a lot of people, the top athletes, I think it's going to be power snatches, and it's going to be very fast. There's going to be touch and go for some, like the top athletes are going touch and go on some of these weights. I would have thought it would have been a little tiny bit heavier, but not with a 2-minute cap. If they want to go 2-minute cap, I guess it's fine.
So yeah, one thing that they did add when they talked to TEF is that there will be only 2 bars, and you'll have to change weights.
I hate that.
Why?
I hate that changing weights is a part of fitness. That should never, like, people will be like, oh yeah, I like change, like, I hate that. Shouldn't be part of fitness. How fast I can move, I can change whether the thingy gets stuck on the barbell. I don't think that should be part of fitness. I've always thought that. Some people like it in competitions. I hate it.
Is it the first and the third barbell that have weight?
Probably just adding 5s or whatever it is.
It almost doesn't make sense because mine is 95, 115, 125, 145. Like, because you're going to have 25s and 5s out there for the 95 bar. So I guess, and then we're just throwing, so there's just gonna be 10s that have to like be put on and pulled off and put on. I don't know. This doesn't.
Well, I don't think you have to pull anything off. I think it's just you're gonna have to add the new weight as you move up. Like so from 125 to 145, you're gonna have to put a 10 on each side.
Huh.
I just don't love it. I just think, I don't know. I don't like the switching of the weights being part of such a fast test like this. Some of the clips are just stickier than others. And it's just like, that shouldn't be a factor whether someone wins the heat or not. Like, so it should not be a factor. Like, that's not fitness.
This is probably where we may dive off a minute, but let's try not to. So they said that the reason for it was for safety. Now that everything has happened, this is going to be an easy out for people when they don't want to do it a certain way. They can say it's for safety reasons. Why is it safer to stop and load a bar before you go to the next one? That makes no sense.
Less bars on the floor. No, I understand the safety thing. If you don't have the space, you don't want 4 bars on there, and then people are moving everywhere. So like, I get the space thing. I guess I get that. I'm just saying, I personally don't think that should play a factor. And if you don't have the space, then I think you could do another type of lift. I mean, we're already pulling from the floor. This is now the 3rd time,
right?
In 4 workouts. I mean, the volume is pretty low here compared to the rest, but
yeah, you just don't do this workout. If safety, if you don't do a snatch ladder, if safety is a concern, that makes no sense.
I just like.
You're on mute.
Sorry. I think it's different if it's like a long ladder and it's not necessarily like 2 minutes long, and you can go through and you can change your weights and you're kind of using that as recovery. But in something like this, it's just so fast. And I just think that people having those type of clips that they're going to be using in training and being able to use those faster, like in and out, makes a difference what type of clips you train with. If you're used to those ones that they'll be using. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's fast.
If you want to do a 2-minute capped workout, either you make it so it is for the 2-minute cap, or you make it so it's a 3-minute cap and you change weights. I think that the combination of the two makes no sense. Personally.
Yeah.
And I like this workout. I just don't like the bastardized version of it. Like, if you want a straight speed ladder with a 2-minute cap, let them go.
Right.
So,
Is it an elimination style or is it just
No.
one time through?
one time through.
Wow. So you mess up, that's with 40 people. That's crazy. There's going to be some close times on this.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to sprint to that finish line. If there is one.
Oh my gosh, if there's no finish line.
Or is it judges stopwatches?
be.
Like, do they have the ankle clips? Like, those will be factors if
we will not have ankle time bracelets. We will not.
So like going off the judge's reaction is not accurate.
I know.
Especially when people are going to be coming to the finish line very close. I hope they can find some sort of ankle clip because 40 athletes doing a sub 2 minute and a sub 3 minute workout you want accuracy, and I don't think it's going to be accurate how fast the judge can click their button.
Oh my God. If there's no finish line, I may protest right in the middle of the event. If spectators can't see who wins, there's no point in having a sport.
Was it Legends last year or the Masters Collective when they didn't have the finish line?
Both.
Mm-hmm, both.
Oh, both.
Both.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No
both
comment.
stopped on the floor. It was rough.
Yeah. If you can't see who finishes first, there's no point in watching. It's just dumb.
Not even for you. Yes, agree, spectator wise, but it was a struggle for us as athletes. Like, Scott, you were standing there when we weren't sure if Veronica was actually done. She wasn't sure if she was done.
I know.
Because she didn't have a mat to run to, and she didn't know if her judge was confused. Like, it was very confusing.
Right. But if you're streaming this, you're trying to make people get eyes on this sport for the first time ever. So you have a really good stream. You have a nice facility with a lot of places for people to watch. If you make it impossible for them to see who wins, you might as well just chuck it all out the window.
I'm guessing all of the floors will have a start mat and a finish mat. They're pretty good about that, about having the floors set.
Well, having them and using them are two different things.
That's what, right. Whether we use them will be the question. Sad to say, I can see them saying they don't want to have anybody jump that last bar and get to the finish mat for safety purposes. So they're just going to let it finish but
if you play sport, there's an assumption of risk. There just is. There just is.
Yeah, there should be a finish line. You should have to drop it forward. A lot of masters that don't have the experience of an in-person comp might put it behind them and then get no rep. Like, those might be some mistakes that you'll see if there's a finish line with those rules. Just knowing that that's, details that as an athlete, like I know because I have experience, but you don't know the experience of certain athletes that will be competing that weekend. But yeah, I hope there's a finish line visually and everything.
All right, let's move on to event 5. 4 times 75 wall balls, 40 shoulder to overhead, 30 dumbbell step overs, 40 dumbbell snatch, 75 wall balls.
So you have Karen on the outside, like with a 150. I don't know why there's 2 different dumbbell movements here. I would have wanted the same movement, both shoulder to overhead, probably, because you already have pulling from the floor with the deadlift, the snatch.
Well, one is a barbell. The shoulder to overhead is barbell.
Then I would have kept the barbell. You don't need another dumbbell. Or you do a double dumbbell if you wanted shoulder to overhead, but and have a little bit more interference on the upper body press. You could have even put handstand push-ups here, just because you haven't had as much gymnastics. I don't know, but I think it looks cleaner if it's like a true pyramid, like a one movement, second movement, third, and then go back that second movement. I saw Ariel post on her story that she was like 11 something on this one. What's the time cap? I can't see it.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah. Sorry. I had to zoom in. Yeah. Is what's the target height for the wall ball? Nothing set on that.
10-9.
10-9.
Yep.
So
I think
even though it's not a true pyramid, do you think it's a good workout?
I think it's fine. I mean, it's pure CrossFit. Like it's I'm trying to think like what's the shoulder to overhead weight? 115, 80. Single dumbbell step over or double?
I'm pretty sure that it's a single dumbbell because there's only the one dumbbell on the floor for the snatch in the box.
Okay.
And I'm assuming it's held any way you want.
A lot of people in the chat are saying everybody
it's
should
fine.
start at 10.
I don't think you need to go unbroken for sure on the wall balls. I think quick sets, something that's just like repeatable, that you're not like hunched over at the ball. Same thing for the shoulder to overhead. The dumbbell step overs. If you're allowed to just hold it behind your head or something, I think you just kind of hold on to that. Try to relax your grip a little bit. If you can just shake one arm out, something like that. Dumbbell snatch at that weight, I would assume, is you just kind of hold on unbroken, and then whatever you have left on that 75 wall ball.
All right, let's go to event 6. Round 1. This one just is god awful. Round 1, 4 minutes of work, 1 minute of rest. Round 2, 3 minutes of work, 1 minute of rest. Round 3, 2 minutes of work. It's basically max echo bike calories, trying to get to 105 and 80, but there's a buy-in every round of 75 double unders and 20 chest to bars.
Dex, have you done this one? Or any part of it?
He said he loves it.
Well, that makes me think he
guys that can hammer a bike.
I know, but it makes me think he hasn't done it. He just loves the idea of hammer the bike.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just how bad do you want to hurt on the echo bike? Yeah, I mean, both of the movements up front are, I think at this level, mostly unbroken for people. And then it's your power output on the bike. Like some people can just have, like, especially the men, like their ability to sprint on an echo bike is not even comparable to the females if they have 2.5 minutes, let's say on the bike on the first round. It's a tough one to finish for sure. I haven't tried it, but it looks nasty. And I like the format of it, that, the time decreases on the bike the further along you move.
I hate that. I wish it was a 3-3-4 personally. Like, then it's like, can you even get through that? Like, do you need all 4 minutes at the end? Can you keep pushing at the end of all this?
I think it still comes down to just power output. Like,
I think you're going to have very few women finish this.
Are the cows different for your division?
No, not through 40 to 44 for sure.
Yeah, if it changes, I think it goes to like 60 at like 55 plus or something like that. Denise said you tested it. Denise, what's your cals to get through? I will be shocked. I mean, there might be a dude, Dex maybe can get through in 2 rounds. I don't know.
Oh, I bet you Dex gets it with 2 rounds.
Oh,
he's just that good on a bike. Like
oh God.
Yeah, I mean, if you're tall or you weigh more, it's gonna definitely help here. I mean, I do like that you have to earn your echo bike power output by at least having some sort of gymnastics prior and elevated heart rate, that you can't just be tall or bigger. But
let me put it this way. If Dex doesn't finish it in 2 rounds, he ain't getting back to the bike on round 3.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
I mean, I watched you do this, and I don't want to disclose anything. Like this is way harder than people think it is.
I
Way
think
harder.
I think I need to take a airline puke bag out on the floor with me if I'm being 100% honest.
I don't know who thinks this workout is easy. This workout looks awful.
Dex.
Dex, am I lying? If you don't finish it in 2, you're not making it back for 3. I've seen you on the floor way too many times, bub.
I was shocked. Denise said right here, the second round of double unders, I tripped a million times. I was shocked at how heavy my legs felt when I went to jump rope.
Yeah. See,
and your arms are going to be feeling it. Like that blood is just trying to circulate, and those chest bars are going to become hard. As like the blood is just looking to go somewhere because you're just feeling it.
It's almost like that 1 minute of rest is rude because you all of a sudden feel worse.
Yeah, this is a nasty workout.
It's so nasty.
Lynn says, oh no, this is the hardest workout ever. Yeah, I like me a bike. No, this looks awful.
Yep, Dex said the flow on chest to bar got super weird. I felt that. I actually was like, I just need to come down. I am doing some funky kip here that I don't even know what I'm doing right now.
All right, let's move on off of this thing and go to event 7, which is the standard.
I love this one. I don't think 12-minute time cap is good for the women at this level. Like you had the game's top 10 athletes for females doing it in around 11 minutes a few years ago. I think the 12-minute time cap for the females, like 40 to 44, you have 12 minutes as well, right? Jamie?
Yeah.
I think for a few divisions it's a 12-minute time cap. I don't see too many people, women especially, finishing that. The top from the 35 to 39 can do it, but I think very few women will finish it in the 12-minute time cap.
This one, according to our original heat sheet, was supposed to be 13 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know why they think 12 minutes is appropriate for. I just think a lot of people won't get to that point. It's a ring muscle up workout. These are singles on the barbell, just moving through it, giving yourself time, and then figuring out what sets you're able to do on the ring muscle ups. Hopefully no reps, because those get really costly, and it's just kind of executing clean sets. And then on the back end, if you have it in you to do a couple touch and go towards the very end of the snatches, but probably once you start doing singles, your body's just in a single rhythm that you just keep going in singles. This will be a ring muscle up, and how much rest do you want to take in between?
So I have an important question since we're here, and the last couple we've said, this is a completely different workout from men to women, right? And that the caps are too aggressive for one or the other, or for the women as opposed to the men.
Mm-hmm.
On TEF, Bob and Joe said that the people who tested these workouts were themselves and Jared Enderton. If you have no women testing these workouts, are you getting a true picture as to what it is for women?
No.
If that's
like
the
I do,
truth, and that's all that tested it, is that a mistake?
Like I think some of the women in 35 to 39 will be able to finish it, but I think you keep going along. Like I just don't think in a field of 40, you want still close to half to finish, and you're not going to get that. You're just not. It's not on the female side, anyways.
But even you say 35 to 39, the top 10 women at the games struggled to get 11. Now you're talking 40, 35 to 39-year-olds.
I get that's 2019, and we've definitely come a long way. But I still think that this is I haven't done this one in years, but yeah, I think at this level, it's too fast a time cap. That's my opinion, but I love the workout. I personally like this workout. So I like ring muscle ups.
I would have been happier even to see the 13 minutes for the women. Like at least give some separate, like hopefully you get to the snatch and can get some, and like, and who wants to like even try to hold on to it for a couple reps and try to win there, right? Like give a fighting chance to a few people to make some separation, not just one ring muscle up separation.
So 45 to 54, do 25 instead of 30.
Oh.
They
just women or men too?
I think it's both.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, your 50-year-old women are going to be stuck on ring muscle ups.
It's going to be a ring muscle up workout. That's the separator. Who can do them? Who has that volume in them? You guys had that ascending rep scheme in semis.
Mm-hmm.
This one's a big chunk on the spot, which is different, for muscle stamina. But yeah, I mean, I just hope for the viewership that you see people finish on the women's side.
There will definitely be a couple people in each. I
think about like Andrea Nisler and stuff. Like
Alethea Boone's going to finish in our age group for sure.
Is she coming?
You know what? I guess I didn't look at, like, do we even have a leaderboard showing?
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't think I saw her on the board.
Really?
That's why I asked. But I'll double check. I have it up here, so I'll check again. So next event is event 8 rounds for time, 8 bar facing burpees, 8 toes to bar, 1 clean at 255, 180. Time cap 8 minutes.
Not a lot of room for separation here. I mean, everyone can do 8 toes to bars. Everyone can do 8 bar facing burpees. How fast you're comfortable doing a clean at 180. If you can power it, every time nice and sweet, you're good. It's just going to come down to transitions, jogging between the movements, and pushing the pace. If you don't have that 180 in you, that you're just confidently jogging to the bar and just getting it, I think you'll struggle on this one. It's basically it's eight rounds, 8 minute time. Yeah, it's an EMOM, quicker than an EMOM. This is a fast time cap. Like I think they have a few fast time caps here, and it's probably because of the amount of divisions they got to get through. But yeah. I mean,
but I don't want to see every women's division not finished and all the men finished. That's a bad look to me.
I'm not saying that women have a disadvantage at this one. I don't think that this one is one that with the woman. I just think it's a fast time cap. If you start having to move your barbell up and the transitions get longer, if they've only tested it on the spot in person, that's different than the amount like that playing field that they're going to be doing it on, which is why like at the games, they have that demo team testing workouts on the field, progressing forward because they're like, oh, we didn't take this into consideration. We got to bump up the time cap by, a minute or something like that. But yeah, this is a quick one. Between all the movements.
Dex says women have it easier on this one.
I disagree, but
Alethea Boone is not on the roster.
Okay. Well, that's sort of a bummer.
Event 9, 5 minutes to establish a 1 rep max front squat.
I mean, this is just, is it from the floor, from the rack?
I'm sure it's from the rack.
From the rack. Okay.
They confirmed that.
I mean, this is raw strength here. Lifting. I mean, in the previous workout, I think the lift is the separator. Like if you could just go to it. I mean, yeah, it's a strength one. I mean, there's not really anything to it here. Stronger people will win.
Yep.
Boring.
It is boring.
But
I don't think this was needed here.
With all the power output feel of a lot of these workouts, I do not think they needed this strength test. You have the strength test with your snatch ladder.
I think they could have done some sort of gymnastics with possibly another run here. Like I think out of 10 events, 1 event with running is, I mean, they don't have any events that's long, and you have another short workout. yeah, I'd like to see something in that 15 to 20 minute range.
Yeah. 5 minutes. There we go. All right. And then finally we end up with, they will cut to half of the participants at this point. And then on Sunday, the only event that is going is this one, event 10, 4-time, 8, 12, 16, single arm dumbbell thrusters and bar muscle ups. Time cap 8 minutes. The dumbbell weight is 70-50.
Smaller bodies like that. I think the thruster at this with those reps is like no issue. It's going to come down to the bar muscle ups and range of motion and transitions, I guess. It's another 8-minute workout, like another fast one. You have the ring muscle ups, the bar muscle ups. I don't know.
It is a little weird. I love bar muscle ups, but yeah, I don't know. 36 of these after doing 60 chest to bar that you're trying to sprint, like the fatigue from that is gonna add up. And then the next day you're starting with 30 ring muscle ups, and then the next day you're starting with, like, it is back to back pulling.
What about all the squatting? Max squat, overhead squat.
I don't think the
wall ball thruster, shoulder to overhead. I
don't know. I don't feel like there's dense squatting.
I mean, personally. the wall balls, that's a high volume. I feel it more so in my arms when I do wall balls. Some of the squatting numbers are still relatively low or like light for the overhead squat. But like Dex said, that there's no long aerobic test. Like that first one, that's what, 16-minute time cap? Is that what it was? 16 or 18 minute time cap.
But I'm betting the best runners aren't going to get anywhere near 18 minutes.
Nope.
Like I would like to see a longer one that's not based off of weightlifting, and some sort of. I would like to see probably another run in there, or you could have put a row. They don't have a row, right?
There's no rower. There's the one power output echo bike for for power.
You could do a rower or another run in one of them, but like a longer time domain.
I think for the best athletes, they're not going to see the floor for more than 12 minutes this whole weekend. I know there's an 18-minute one and there's a 15-minute one, but I think the best athletes are going to be off the floor in 12 minutes or less on everything.
Yeah, there's short workouts like that. I don't think that front squat was needed.
Dex asks, you guys think anything changed after Fort Worth? I am positive something changed after Fort Worth, but I'm betting we'll never know what it is.
Yeah. People are saying there wasn't supposed to be swimming, but I was under the impression we were supposed to swim in a pool or something. Because I think they communicated with the teams that they would not be swimming. And I feel like that was stated because we were swimming.
I feel like there was another outdoor test.
Yes.
And they brought it inside, but I don't know what that was to what it is. Because on that podcast with TEF, they talked a lot about we're keeping everybody inside except for this one minimal run to keep everybody out of the heat.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is. If, I was a part of the leaks, I could tell you probably, but because I don't get any of the leak information, I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know. You think it's well-rounded, Carolyne? What do you think?
I think it's missing a long time domain for sure. I think that there's enough gymnastics. Like you have 16 rope climbs, 30 ring muscle ups. You have some bar muscle ups in there, chest to bars. I would have liked to have seen inverted a little bit more. So either handstand push-ups of some sort, or more handstand walk as a separator. The weights, I don't think there's anything crazy heavy in any of the workouts besides testing your front squat, which is just raw strength. I'm okay with them. I mean, I like every like test basically.
I feel
think
like
it's fine.
that's what I see. Like people are commenting on it. They love it. They love the tests. Like, but I feel like they love the tests individually, or they're like seeing like 6 or 7 that they really like, and they're like, oh, those look fun. But I don't know that they're like looking at the programming in totality and realizing. I don't know. I mean, I'm really curious to see who comes out at the top at the end of this week. If it really is like the bigger, stronger athlete, or I don't know.
So
I think you need some good strength and gymnastics. So I think where you're lacking is where the games went, which was all aerobic, right?
Yeah,
so
that's
I
what
think
the
if
games
you're
is supposed to be.
I think this is going to be your pure CrossFitter inside the gym type athlete, like your quarterfinal, semifinal type athlete that is good with moving weights at like moderate heavy weights and some pulling and stuff gymnastics. Like I think those are the type of athletes that will do well. They don't
do
need
you
to go
think that's where
very
we're going?
long. What's that?
Do you think that's where we're going? After what happened in Fort Worth, do you think we're going to be more climate controlled, more, at least in the next few years?
I mean, I
Just
hope
being
not.
cautious?
Like I think aerobic capacity is extremely important. I don't think it should always be machine based because I don't think that power output is the same thing as going for runs or like I don't want it to be just skier, row, echo bike, and that's how we're testing like monostructural because that it's still favoring the bigger, taller, heavier athletes. Like I want it to be more aerobic based, long workouts.
Because even
versus
this year we had the outdoor run, which everybody loved, right? Like everybody loved that we actually got outside and ran and not on a machine. And like I hope we don't go away from that just because of what happened. But I wanted to give a shout out to Larry because last week I forgot to put up his paid comment. So I wanted to say you finally got your 1 rep max, Larry. So happy for you. At least one person is out there happy that you get to do a 1 rep max front squat. The other thing I wanted to ask is because they changed the schedule and now there's only one event on Sunday, that means you're doing 9 events in 3 days. A lot of athletes are used to that, but the masters have never really done that amount of volume in a day, that many days in a row at the games. So that is a little bit different. Do you think that adds to the aerobic test, or at least that you have to recover more times in those first 3 days?
I would say yes, if the time caps were correct, because I think some people are going to not get the full volume of work on some of these tests. And then like there's so many short ones, 8 minutes or less, that I don't know that volume adds up even for 3 in a day. I don't know.
Okay. All right. With that, I want to give a shout out to the 70 plus division. This is the first time they're ever going to have a division at the CrossFit Games. I know people that qualified in the 65 plus, but were 70 plus and are choosing to go in the 70 plus to compete with their own age group. Which is really cool. So super stoked for them. I know Lana has been reaching out to me about how excited they are. Wanted to make sure we gave them a quick shout out on the show because this is their opportunity to show that they can bring some people and show what they have that they have some stuff and to do it out there on the floor. So super stoked for them.
How many people in that division?
So I think on the women's side, it's close to 20. And on the men's side, I think it's like 12.
Yeah. I do like the fact that the older age groups aren't doing like 10 events and certain movements were taken out for consideration of what it would look like maybe and just the volume that it would take. So I think that's smart. I like that was taken into account.
Yeah.
All right, next up on the list is a couple names to look for in the different divisions. And this is just me, my thoughts of watching Masters for so many years and my thoughts of who to watch out for. So I just want to give you guys some names since you are going to be watching the stream and maybe you want to know like who you want to look for, who might do well. In the 35 to 39-year-old division, I'll start with the women. People I think you should keep an eye on are Andrea Nisler, Caroline Klutz, Holly Henderson, longtime semifinal athlete. This is her opportunity to do something big. And then, of course, Kelly, formerly known as Kelly Clark, who just 2 short years ago was 1 point away from making the CrossFit Games. And she'll be competing in the 35 to 39. On the men's side, I think your favorite is Will Morad.
Yeah.
But to compete with him, you'll have Bronislav Olinkowicz right there with him. Chase Smith, who competed in the West semifinal this year, will be competing in the 35 to 39. And Mark Hutchinson always comes to play in in-person events. If he can hold on for the entire weekend, he will be someone to watch. 40 to 44-year-old women. My favorite is Jamie Latimer. I don't know if you've heard of her, but whenever she gets into an in-person competition, she is a savage, straight up savage. And I can't wait to see her finally at the CrossFit Games. No one deserves it more than she does. Also, you got to keep an eye on Kelly Jackson Essig. Kelly Jackson's been around the sport a real long time, is going to be a fierce competitor. Carlene Matthews podiumed at the Masters CrossFit Games in the 35 to 39-year-old division. So she has a good shot at doing so in the 40 to 44. And then you have to look out for legend Rebecca Voigt-Miller. She's always there and always in contention. And finally, just kind of a wild card is Megan Apostolaris. She was at Legends last year. She's a really good athlete, top 10 all the time, made the games last year. I think she will do well this year. If we move to men 40 to 44, Rudy Berger, my friend, 2-time CrossFit Games champion. He's there defending for the 3rd year in a row. Should be watching for him. Guido Trinidad is competing in that division. If you don't know who he is, he's the one who started Wadapalooza many years ago and is an OG CrossFitter and will do well. James St. Ledger, we just interviewed him this week. He is coming in the top 5. He has a great shot at this. Julian Cerna is the number 1 seed coming in, and he is from Brazil. I'm always skeptical of those South American.
He's just from Brazil.
Okay.
He trains at Training Think Tank. Well, okay. He's home, like he's not always there, but he's a longtime Training Think Tank athlete.
And my wild card for this is Brett Owsley. Comes in the top 10 qualifying, and I think he has a shot as well. So watch out for him. Then in the 45 to 49-year-old women, can't beat Kelly Friel. The woman has 2 silvers and now 3 golds back to back. She is defending her title, but someone came out of retirement named Val Vobrel in that division who could go up against her. So that's a great matchup there. And don't forget about Deanna Posey as well in that division. She'll do well as well. Then we go to the men. Jason Grubb, 4-time in a row champion. Got to put him first. But Kane Hayes is a fierce competitor. He could give him a run. Mike Kern is always in that run as well. But the dark horse is Chris Anderson. The guy podiumed last year at the CrossFit Games. He does not look like he belongs out on the floor with the rest of the athletes, but he has impeccable technique and is so efficient with all of his moves. So make sure to watch out for Chris Anderson. And then we move to the 50 to 54 division women. Cheryl Brost, you can never count her out. 7 times Masters Games athlete, plus 3-time elite athlete at the games. And she's won the games 3 times. So you have to have Cheryl Brost up there. Jennifer Dieter, great athlete. She won Legends last year. And Dee Dee Hoffman, the greatest athlete you would never have seen because she suffered a severe knee injury right before the CrossFit Games when she qualified a couple years ago. But I'm hoping she's back from that knee injury, and you'll see something special from Dee Dee Hoffman in the 50 to 54. On the men's side, Joel Hughes comes in as the number 1 seed. And if you don't know this, he was the original training partner of Ariel Lowen. Before Joel, she trained with Joel. He won the games in 2021 or 2019. I'm sorry, 2019, and is coming back 5 years later now in his new division to take a shot. So he has a great shot. But keep an eye on Justin LaSala as well. And the women 55 to 59, my favorite is Tia Vesser. She comes in as the number 2 seed. She is a phenomenal athlete. I've known her for years. She won the games in 2021. So I think she has a good shot at doing it. She did that in 50 to 54. She's now in 55 to 59. So check that out. And Sherry Ann Benoit is also competing that you need to take a look at there. And something just popped up. There we go. And then on the men's side, I have Albert Police and Lon Allen. Lon Allen is he's just an animal. He's a really good grit guy in that 55 to 59 range, and just keep a look out for that. 60 to 64, Lynn Watt is always there. Got to interview her after she won Legends last year. She's going to be a force to reckon with. And Lori Mishishnik, I can never pronounce her name, but I always see her on the leaderboard, and I always see her out on the floor doing well. So take a look there. And then men 60 to 64, Patrick McCarty, been around forever. And Tony Tursky is just, I love that man, and I'm always going to mention his name. The guy is an emotional. He's like just a real dude, real good guy. And I'll always root for Tony Tursky. 65 plus women. Who else would I root for but Denise Moore, who's always in our chat and always supporting the show.
Denise.
And she was a top 5 games athlete last year, if I remember correctly. And then Julie Holt is the defending champ. So got to give her love as well. And then on the men's side, David Hippensteel and Matt Bell. Matt Bell's another one of those gritty athletes that's just doing what he can to win. So if anybody's going to upset David Hippensteel, I'm going with Matt Bell. And that is my people to watch. I went through that fast because we are running late, but I know that not everybody watches the Masters as much as I do. But so I just wanted to give you some names to kind of look out for there. We're going to do some coverage next week. Carolyn and I will do some wrap-up shows every night, hopefully around 9 Eastern time, 8 Central, because these games will be held in the Central time zone. So we'll do that then. I was going to ask who tried these WADs. I know some people in the chat have tried the WADs. I know Jamie's tried the WADs. With a week out, is that plenty of time to test as many WADs as you can, or are you guys just picking the couple you want to kind of feel and letting the other ones ride?
You want to know what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that it's enough time to try to test these all. I don't know. Maybe pick the couple that you want to figure out pacing strategy on. Pick a couple implements from a couple of the movements and throw them together.
Like if I was in your position, I got workouts a week before, I would maybe get certain athletes to do the workouts. And sometimes I just want to watch them do it, just so I can visually see what they look like, look at their paces, stuff like that. So like that could be a good idea for people to do, is get someone to do the workout and get some feedback there if you don't have the time to actually physically do the WADs. But I think that's a good idea. Like you said, just doing parts of stuff, playing around. But I think the week before the games, it's important to feel confident, to feel as healthy as possible, and to not overdo it.
What I think is funny is when your friend starts texting you and saying, hey, check this out on my YouTube channel. And there's workout 1. And then 20 minutes later, here comes workout 2. And then here comes workout 3. And I'm like, oh my God, at the actual event, you'll get more rest than this.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
What is she doing?
I'm weird. Nobody should listen to me.
Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny. I don't want to gloss over this, but we're running late in the show and I don't want to be here all night. The teens are going this weekend as well. They are being live streamed. Please show them some love as well. we were going to go through their workouts. We're not going to do that tonight. We took too long on the Masters, but that's where our focus is this year. And I'm not going to apologize for that either. We have, before the season started, our focus was going to be on Masters athletes, because that's who we wanted to cover. And that's what we're doing, along with the elite athletes. So cheer on those teen athletes. We're going to try to keep some of those stories going where there's a teen athlete and a Masters athlete family member competing at the same time. I'm going to try to get footage of mom watching daughter, some things like that for our behind the scenes, so we can see how that goes and follow those stories through the weekend. WZA SoCal announced an amended lineup and captain's picks. Because of the tragedy from Fort Worth and the passing of Lazar, they had to replace him on the team. And then some other people due to injury had to withdraw, including Roman Krenikoff and Ricky Garrard. So they had to replace those people. And then the captains were selected, which ended up being Tia Claire Toomey and Patrick Vellner and Danielle Brandon and BKG. So the final lineups are Team World is BKG, Guy Majeros, Anola Kai, Brent Fikowski. Many believe that even though he is in North America, that they were so short because of the injuries that Brent volunteered to go on Team World. But that's speculation at this point. Tia Claire Toomey, Emma Tall, Sahir Kaya, and Gracie Walton. Gracie Walton was a captain's pick, and I believe Brent Fikowski was a captain's pick. For Team North America, it's Patrick Vellner, Jeffrey Adler, Justin Medeiros, Dallin Pepper, Danielle Brandon, Alexis Raptis, Ariel Lowen, and Emily Rolfe. Dallin Pepper and Emily Rolfe being the captain's picks on that. So yeah, super fun there. I've talked to eCaptures. We're trying to get him credentials to take pictures for us again at that event. And then Amanda Hari is competing there in one of the community events, and she's going to come on and share what she sights and scenes from the event during that weekend as well.
That's
so
awesome.
So we'll have some coverage from that. Nasty Nelsons, thanks for sharing our Birmingham pickleball roundup on Instagram. Looking forward to having the games downtown. Safe travels to anyone headed down to the Ham. Yeah, they asked if I shared. They're having a pickleball event the weekend of the CrossFit Games in Birmingham. So, and inviting people to come over and hang out at their pickleball tournament. So make sure to go check that out on Instagram. We're going to finish up with the PFAA makes a list of demands. This has been covered a lot this week. If you haven't heard, I'm going to do this very succinctly. They have asked for 3 things. They put it as a demand. I don't know if I love that word, but the PFAA represents the interests of the athletes competing at the CrossFit Games. They said that they would demand an appropriate level of transparency between CrossFit and the PFA regarding the third-party investigation as to the death of Lazar Jukic. Then demand 2 was we demand CrossFit create an independent safety team to liaise with the PFA on an ongoing basis. Number 3, we demand that Dave Castro be removed from his position in the sport team. These demands reflect the immediate steps necessary to begin to restore athlete trust in CrossFit the sport. And it goes on, and it's signed by the board members of the PFAA. So I wanted to give you guys, I have some thoughts on this, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to share your thoughts on this as well.
I mean, for me, I'm like a little confused that like that's like Brent and Pat, and they're all willing to go compete at WZA SoCal without any I mean, that's a CrossFit licensed event, correct?
It's not.
Oh, did they remove their license?
WZA hasn't been CrossFit licensed in a while.
Okay. Well, then, okay. I guess they can do what they want if they aren't going to step foot on a CrossFit event floor.
I don't think it says that. It just says restore the trust in the sport.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but
say
I mean, if you make the well, if Dave doesn't get removed, like that, to me, that would mean they're not participating in CrossFit events until these.
See, I think that's the problem with the way this was written. Is they don't tell you what the outcome is if they aren't met. They just said their trust wouldn't be there. It doesn't say they wouldn't compete. So, Carolyne, do you have any thoughts?
Well, the first two are pretty, to me, self-explanatory. I don't think anyone would have anything to say on that. I'm just curious for the ask for the Dave Castro part, whether it was just those athletes that signed and it was just a group decision between them, or if there was anything that was reached out to the games athletes from this year or a bigger pool of athletes to generate more input behind that ask. I still think it's early on in the investigation to pinpoint someone specifically. I think that they could hold off on maybe that part.
Uh-oh.
I thought that was me.
Nope. It looks like.
Did I cut out?
Your internet cut out just for right in the middle of the great point.
Oh, I was saying that I feel they could wait on the investigation to be over to know whether it's him and other people, or I think there's a lot more to be known in this tragic incident, and I'm just not sure if it was also communicated outside of that group that signed. I mean, we all know what we saw, and in my opinion was very preventable in terms of the response factor to Lazar, or lack of response, I should say, and who is to blame, I don't know right now. And until that part is specifically whether it's the safety team that was hired or the execution of that, we just don't know enough information to call for someone's job yet. Do I think someone will have to pay for what happened? I do believe so. I just don't know who or how many people.
Can I ask you a question, Carolyne? You're a 3-time games athlete. You've competed at the highest level. Have you ever been asked by the PFAA to become a member? Or
yes,
you have.
Yes.
And is there a process to become a member?
I was a member the last few years. I would just get information sent by Grace through email, and it was just what they're working on. And if we have other input or questions, just to email them back type thing. I believe I still get some of the PFAA. I don't know if it just gets sent out to people in general, but I didn't receive like a specific survey or anything in regards to the incident at the games or anything like that going forward. So I'm not sure if I'm still a part of it. I know I was part of the group at some point.
So that's where my confusion is right now, is who does the PFAA represent? Because I don't know. I didn't know that athletes were invited to join. I knew they had a meeting after semifinals last year in a couple locations. And then after the games last year, they had another meeting. But never have I heard like who they represent, who is on the roster of membership. I've belonged to professional associations for my job. And with that are like bylaws of what you are, of what it takes to become a member, what the dues are to become a member. And my fear is that the PFAA is stepping ahead of the athlete body and not getting, like you said, you don't know if they got the input of anybody else, but it just feels like it's moving forward without that input. And I don't even know who that input would be from, because I've talked to a lot of like semifinal athletes. They've never been asked to join. I've talked to masters athletes. They've never been asked to join.
I think they've kept it so far as I know, the athletes that are currently competing at the games. Last year after the games, I was sent an email by Brent if I wanted to stay with the meeting that you're talking about, like after the games. And then if you couldn't stay because you had to travel, then we just got emailed like the minutes of the meeting. I think there was also a video on YouTube that we could watch of the discussions that were had going forward, but I didn't get anything this year. So I don't know if it's just because I've been 2 years now out removed, and the year that I was there last year, I was closer to the last time I competed there.
The first line of the thing put out says the PFAA represents the interest of athletes competing in the CrossFit Games season. That is a CrossFit Games season is the open until the end. That's a large number. I compete in the open. I've never got an invite to be a part of the PFAA, and I don't think they'd want me as a part of it, right? Like,
I think they really mean the CrossFit Games individual athletes. If I'm being like, where would it stop? People are in and out of the sport too much. I think they're looking for people that are like consistently at the games, that have maybe even more and from different regions of the world, to get some input on maybe what's going on at their semifinals versus another semifinals. Because I think the people that are on the list right now represent different regions.
Here's my thing. I'm going to say this one more time. I, as a member of professional associations at work, we have to pay dues. We're on a roster. That professional association has to like publish the list of who is a member of that association. The PFAA has done none of that to my recollection. There's nowhere where I can go and see a roster of athletes that they represent. I think that is an important step that needs to be taken before you make demands of any kind, so that we know who it is that's saying this. Because ultimately the games was the perfect, and I have nothing against the PFAA. I think athletes do need a voice. I think they do need representation. I just wish they would be more formal about it so we'd know who that voice is for. They had the opportune time at the games with what happened to say, okay, guys, we need to get our ducks in a row, and we need to fill out this form to tell me that you're going to be a member of the PFAA, and we will represent our interests as an athlete body whole. And then you could say, this is the PFAA. We represent 92% of CrossFit Games athletes. And then that holds water, right? Just saying you represent the interests of athletes is very vague, and it doesn't hold the water that it could hold if they just take another step.
For me, like this is a personal opinion. Now, like if you're saying that these are the demands going forward, like I find that you would have had way more ground had you put your foot down at the games and not continue to compete. Because if you continue to compete and then ask for those demands after and say, now we won't compete in anything else CrossFit related, to me, it's like, okay, you got, your money or whatever, and now you're ready to me, that part didn't look as good, but what part of the weekend looked good? Like who am I to judge from my position? But it just like no one was on the same page. And I don't think that still right now people are on the same page if you look at, the comments. So it would be good to have more than those names signed and say how much of the athletes are being represented, like you said. It's a tough one. I think we're very divided right now in our community. It's a lot of people are hurting. Like I've never seen the community as divided as it.
And the issue is that I'm sure the athletes are as divided as everybody else. And so to say that you represent them all just doesn't ring true unless you you guys took a vote, that you did. And here's my next piece of this. Now PFAA is working with WZA SoCal. They're working with the NorCal Classic to ensure safety and fair competition. Now you're jumping into this, and we still don't know who you represent. And those aren't necessarily games athletes now, right? Like when you go to NorCal Classic, you compete there, you're a games athlete, but the majority of the people that compete there are your semifinal athletes, right? I think they need to like come down to that level. One, you're going to boost membership by 100-fold by including semifinal athletes into your association. And they'd be willing to pay dues to have protection in these cases. But where I'm worried is now PFA is putting their name on the safety of these events. That's a big step to take. And if you don't even know who your members are you willing to make that jump? Because now you're just as liable as the event.
Yeah, like if something happens at an event, for instance, Wodapalooza had the PFAA with them prior, and I'll be the first to say I don't think Wodapalooza's water safety was safe, right? Like, and there's been incidents there of things being unsafe, and like the PFAA was behind that prior, whether it was doing wall walks with a wet platform or handstand push-ups on the middle of the water somewhere, like previous years. Like there's been things prior, so they are taking a risk by putting their name and saying that they're going to overlook all the safety things, because our sport is just so unique that a lot of times we don't know something is like could have been done differently until something happens, and it's like, oh, this person fell from the rope. Okay, now let's put the crash pads every time. Oh, this rope is too long for the rope climbs. Okay, we need to cut. Like it's almost like we're a very reaction sport, just because it's still very new, and I feel like we're learning a lot as huge mistakes are happening, and obviously the worst of them all happened at the games, and it's just hard to know what could happen with the PFA. Even if they do look at the safety, they may not think of everything that could possibly happen. And then it's like, oh, well, you signed your name on this. This was safe. Why didn't you think about this? And it is difficult, right? Like, I don't think that we're all experts in this. I don't know who's an expert on the PFAA that can look at the safety of everything and predict everything that could happen. Like, it's tough. And something's just happen in sports too, but it's
if I'm an elite athlete now and I've got the professional organization representing me saying that we feel this is safe because we, the PFAA, have looked over the workouts for WZA SoCal and it's all good. And they didn't consult me or give me any say in that. Like that gets sticky, and it's going to get stickier the more they become involved without a better definition of who they are.
And like things, the movements and stuff can be safe in CrossFit. Like in the case of Lazar, it's the lack of response, right? It would be equivalent of like, let's say Cara in 2020 or 2015 at the games, she's at the finish line and we see her struggling and we don't attend to her until after the event. And now we're going to attend to her and it's too late. Like that's kind of like almost what happened versus like the movements, the swimming was not unsafe, or the movement of a snatch is not unsafe. It's like, it's the weighting of the response that went horribly wrong in the case of what happened, just the lack of response, right, to get to that point. So,
well, it's the approval of the safety plan.
I guess,
right?
Yeah.
That's where it would come down to.
And I think a lot of the safety, like the medical people, are scared sometimes to intervene in the middle of a competition, right? Like we've been told, if you touch the board, you're disqualified. Like you're basically taking a minimum work requirement. So like sometimes the people don't want to interfere or touch the athlete in fear that you could be disqualifying someone's season, right? So it's that mentality that we've had for years. It's like the one girl with her knee where it's like you're told as a medical sometimes to not even go on the floor and help until the event is over. Like it's just, I think there needs to be better communication with the medical and having the safety of the athlete first before the race.
So the Rebecca Vidison thing is very different because that was the facility's medical team, not CrossFit's medical team, because of the rules of France. I have been there and watched the medical team drill. Like they have hand signals and they are really fast if it's the CrossFit team. And that team is like, they are first responders, doctors, high level people in the medical field that are doing that. I want to talk about something Lynn said, which is she just disagrees with me that they don't need to go for more athletes and such. The issue is me as a professional, when I joined the professional association for my work, I pay dues because I want them to represent me. But I also get voting rights with those dues. I get voting rights into what they say, what our bylaws say, what we can and cannot do. If the PFAA is skipping that step, then it's going to hurt them in the long run. And again, I want them to exist. I want the athletes to have a voice. I just don't want them to skip the necessary step to actually be a professional association. Right? When you are part of a professional association, you are paying dues for a set list of things for your protection, for your education, for your, and with that comes voting rights on all of that.
Can I address this message here from Larry that says, I'll read it for the people that listen versus watching. This was the 18th year of the CrossFit Games. Everyone says it's still a new sport. Sure, I agree. But when are we expecting it to mature? Just wondering. It's hard because our sport is unknown and unknowable, and things are constantly getting added, and it's different combinations of movements. And I just because there's just different workouts all the time, it's always new. It's always something new that you're seeing. That's part of our sport. It's hard to mature. We have learned in some instances, but then sometimes you don't foresee a certain piece of equipment doing something in another way. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
I get what you're saying. It's almost like a new sport every year. I mean, it's a new
new program. It's whatever we think is the fittest on earth based on this program that from that year. Sometimes it's skews one way, skews another. Our sport's constantly changing. I
think we've all been saying that we want it to be more consistent of a sport, that we know the rules from year over year, that we stick with the same qualification process to get to the CrossFit Games. These are things we've been asking for, but they keep changing because leadership changes. And because of that, we have not been given the opportunity to mature. Yeah. And we will not mature until we can get a season structure settled and agreed upon and move forward.
And we can't learn about the safety of a movement because we can't ask about the workout and what's going to be programmed because we're an athlete and we're not supposed to get any leaks.
Right. And that's where you need to have a safety commission. The NFL has a rules committee, right? That look at the safety of things and they change the rules every year based on that. Now they don't do we're changing it from a 17 game season to a 32 game season. And we're they don't go way out of whack. It's tweaking and modifying things so everything becomes safer.
We basically need a sports manual is what we talked about this in our group chat is it's these are the movements for the year. This is the standard for the movement when it's in competition. And if certain things are in different classes, lower risk, higher risk, these are the higher risk movements. These are the safety protocols that you have to follow if you want to program this in your competition. And it's universal. And if that movement's not in that manual or whatever for the year, you have to wait until it appears and we get to see it the following year after it's gone explained and there's videos on it. But some sort of manual like that where there's some sort of consistency. And I know that Brent worked on a movement list and all of that. So that plus the safety of it. And then those are the movements you can draw from for that year. And it just becomes a little bit more consistent. You can still have varied movements and workouts, but at least there's a little bit more of consistency between events. But again, some people will be well, then the variance of the movement is an adaptability. You have to be able to adapt to the movements. And if you only practice one standard, you're not getting fitter because you're not adapting constantly. So I don't know what the solution is.
But if I were king for a day and I was the head of the PFAA, I would want dues so then I could hire somebody to write that manual. It shouldn't be Brent who's training all year and has no time on his hands. They should collect dues from the athletes who want to be a part of it, who want representation, and then hire someone out to write that manual and then approve it once it comes back, right? Your voting members then approve all these things. That's how it should work. The problem is Brent's trying to do everything by himself because they're doing it on the cheap, and they are not formed as an official association with dues and board members and elections and all the things that come with that. And with that, that's enough for tonight on that. Well, I'm sure we'll keep talking about that this entire freaking off season. Julian Eiford says, did you guys see the TTT podcast? Very informative. I did. I thought it was the closest representation to what I felt during the weekend of any podcast I watched.
Yeah, I wondered how you felt about that with their response.
They literally, it felt the way they explained it for themselves is how I felt that weekend. And so I really did enjoy that. I thought they did an amazing job.
Is that the 2 hour one?
It's Max and Perrin and Travis, who are 3 different people getting 3 different messages the entire weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And
I haven't listened to it. I'll have to take a listen.
It's insane. The other recommendation I'll have is, if you have not watched Bethany Flores' account of the games, parts 1 and 2, some of the most beautiful content I've seen in years. And being a Christian, I really took hold of a lot of that, and it helped me get over a lot of what happened on the weekend. And so thank you, Bethany, for putting that together, because it's helped me move on a little bit. And speaking of moving on, we have the Masters CrossFit Games this weekend, the first big major event since the tragedy. And I'm really hoping that the CrossFit community comes out for these Masters athletes. It's a live stream. It's something you can watch and enjoy. These athletes are what CrossFit's about. It's fighting off decrepitude. It's fighting off old age. These people are flipping age on its head, and you need to watch them and support what they're doing. They are taking the methodology to a new level. These are the people we need to root for right now. And whether it's the teens or the masters, go watch them, support them, put some eyes on the streams. They deserve a little bit of love this weekend. If you're in the area, go check it out. The price point to get into these events is way cheaper than the CrossFit Games. So go check them out. You need to do that. And we'll be there doing our part with the behind the scenes and wrap up shows every day from the Masters CrossFit Games. And I cannot wait to tell the stories of these people. They are just amazing people. With that, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notifier, tell your friends about us. You know, we're here every Sunday night. We give different perspectives than some of the other shows give. And I hope you appreciate that. With that, it's been a long night, but we're super stoked. In a couple of days, we'll be in Birmingham. We'll see you all next time on Thursday, Sunday night CrossFit Talk here on Clydesdale Media. Bye, guys.